It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe, leave us a rating, a review, 5-star rating preferably. I'll give you a shout out on the show, so looking forward to hearing from you. Very excited about this episode. Got a brother I've been following for a while, Derek Boone out of Philly. Derek, thanks for joining the show.
No, I appreciate you, man. I thank you just for having me and just, allowing me to share some information, some game, and just my experiences in real estate. I appreciate that.
Definitely. So, Derek, just start off. Let the people know who you are and what you do.
Nice. So my name is Derek Boone, 28 years old, born and raised in Philadelphia. I like to call myself a one-stop real estate shop. But now we're actually narrowing down to more so being a buy and hold investor strictly. So when I first got started in real estate, I got my real estate license in 2017, sold a whole lot of houses. And then I had a crazy story where one of my friends, we got a deal in a contract at the same time. We closed the same time. My check was like $7,000. His check was like $17,000. I had a suit on. He had basketball shirts on. I said, "What the heck you do?" And he said, this is one of my good friends. We met through that. We met through real estate. And he said, I wholesale. Told me what to do. I switched and started doing that and the realtor thing. Then I kind of fell back from the realtor thing and referred all my deals out. And then I started doing a wholesale thing. And then during that time, I bought like 1 or 2 houses. And I had already owned 2 houses. So that was like 4 houses, 3 to 4 houses I had. And then being a wholesaler and a realtor, you helping a lot of people build wealth. You helping a lot of people make some real money. So, and that's when I made the shift and I said, you know what? I need to start creating wealth and making big money for myself. And I switched to becoming an investor. I was already an investor, but more of a serious investor. And then that's when I switched to, so now my method is I buy multifamily properties, buy and hold and keep them. I have a couple flips that I'm doing, a couple flips I'm doing currently right now. As well, I actually just got an offer on one house, like literally while we was that's why I was sending a text message back to that.
Yeah.
So we got an offer on one house right there, and over this past summer I bought a bunch of lots. So my just to be transparent, my 2023 goal is to build. All of them are shovel ready. They already got the permits and plans. So 2023 is all development season. I'm doing all ground up new construction all next year.
Love it, man. We got a lot to unpack there. So one thing I want people to notice is that you started as a realtor and then wholesaler, and it sounded like you had a turning point. I mean, you could make a lot of money as a realtor, as a wholesaler, but it sounded like you saw something different. So talk about that turning point where you're like, you know what, this is cool. I'm making money doing this, but it's time to start taking investing a little more seriously.
Yeah. So I had that turning point. I'm gonna be honest with you. The turning point was for me was being a realtor never was a full heart. So just to be transparent with you, I went to a class. I owned a single family house, a 2-bed, 1-bath house, right? And I went to a class to how to buy multifamilies. And I just the little bit of knowledge I had, this was in 2016, that said, once you buy single families, the next house is to go multifamily, right? So somebody was having a class saying how to buy multifamily property. So I went to the class, learned some game, and then the actual person that was teaching the class will end up becoming a mentor of mine. He said, "Yo, you sound like you know a lot." I was like, "Yeah, I read a lot, watch a lot, and I'm here." And he just was like, "No, I just you got this vibe about you. I think you'll be good with sales." And I'm like, "Well, I've been selling stuff my whole life. I'm always been an entrepreneur, so of course." And he's just like, "No, I really think this might be a lane for you." So he said, "You should get your real estate license." And I was like, class is $300 each, or $600. So I did it. That was easy. It took 2 months, a month and a month, or like 45 days and 45 days. So that was nothing. The problem was I failed my test 9 times. So at that point, you have to keep going because I'm competitive. And I said, you know what? I have to, once I got my license finally, I said, I had to sell houses because this is I can't give up now. I already went through all of this. But the moral of that whole story was I never really wanted, if you listen to what I said, I always wanted to be an investor. That's the reason I wanted to. I just let somebody smooth talk me into getting my license, which turned out to be one of the best things in my life. So after selling a bunch of houses, that's when I said, you know what, let me go back to my roots. What I really done this for was to be an investor. So that's when I kind of had that. I made a bunch of money as a realtor, and I said, you know what, I got enough income now and money saved to where I can take this pivot and do the investing thing. And then as far as the wholesale thing go, I had I just wearing suits and everything started getting a little tiring. And this guy made double the money I made in basketball shirts. I was like, wait, so I don't gotta wear a suit anymore, and you made more money than me, and I don't have to show houses. I said, all right, nothing else to talk about.
Definitely. I love it. So, so you went from realtor to wholesaler and then taking investing more seriously, right?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Do you think wholesaling helped you to get good at finding deals?
Yes. Wholesaler is sometimes downplayed amongst in the investing world, but there are I would say the good wholesalers are some of the smartest, amazing individuals there are. Why do I say that? Is because it's so hard to make sure everybody wins. Think about that. I have to make sure the homeowner wins. I have to make sure you win. I have to make sure I win. Every party included in this transaction has to win. Not only we're talking with the title company, sometimes we're even talking to the buyer's lender, dealing with a new buyer. They don't know how to work with hard money. Now I'm talking to their lender. So at this point, for our 10,000, 15,000, 20, 30, 40, 50, even more $1,000 assignment fee, we're making sure everybody across the board is going to win. So I feel as though that, being a wholesaler, like you're learning numbers on a whole nother level, because you have to make sure everybody is getting a piece so they sign these contracts. Not to mention, it's very, very, I don't say difficult, but it's very, very strategic to find off-market properties at a deep discount rate. Like, think about that. Like, I'm trying to I'm really finding properties, digging down, getting their contact information, following up with this homeowner over, like, it's some work, like, so I definitely feel as though, like, digging in and developing those skills turns you into a monster.
Definitely. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because as you said, like, people just, I don't know, some people just have a weird thing about wholesaler, but it's like, those who are actually good, one, could add a lot of value to you as an investor, as a flipper, whoever you are. Like, if you have a good wholesaler in your back pocket, you know, that could help tremendously. And if a wholesaler themselves, like, that skill set is always going to benefit you no matter when you pivot. So I'm glad you brought that up.
No doubt. It's the truth, it's a fact.
Definitely. So take us to the point where you're like, all right, did the realtor thing, did the wholesaler thing. Now it's time to invest. Like, how did you start? Like, what did you buy? Like, how did you approach it at that point?
So, so it's so funny, right? I owned two small properties already. Me and my cousin had a property together, which I bought him out. And then my grandma, she moved to Florida. And it was ridiculous. But my grandpa lifelong dream was to move to Florida. As soon as he retired, they gave him a lump sum $50,000 check. He took that $50,000, put it on a down payment house down Florida, and put himself in a mortgage. Why? I don't know. And of course, my grandma goes down there with them. They go down there with no money, because the lump sum they got, they put it for a house and got a house built from the ground up, all this type of stuff. Wow. And my grandma said, "Yo, look, I had this house. I really want to give it to you, but I just can't." So she sold it to me for like $12,000. So I got that offer. So I had them two, but I don't want to say those houses didn't count. Like, me and my cousin had got this house together, and then I got that off of her, these two small houses. I don't want to say that didn't count, because they definitely, maybe we talk about this later on, but they definitely helped pivot me, because I leveraged those to go ahead and make power moves. But also, like, I didn't know what I was doing. It just was like an opportunity. I jumped on it and called it a day. But long story short, the real estate investing, when I took it very, very serious, I was actually looking for a deal because I was watching one of my friends, one of my good friends. I think you interviewed him, Tariq. I'm
Yeah.
watching him, buy houses and do things. And I'm selling some of his houses. I'm wholesaling them deals, and I'm as a realtor, I'm selling some of his deals. So I'm watching him, build wealth, like real wealth. And I'm just like, nah, man, like I gotta jump in on this side of the field. So what I did was I started looking for deals, and I kept trying to get deals under contract, which I was. And then he was like, "Yo, man, you got this done a contract. You need to off that. Don't keep it. That's not enough you want to keep." So I was getting so frustrated, and then he had went ahead and me and him partnered and bought this multifamily building. It was a commercial mixed use building together. And once I got that, we bought the building together. I had to put up like $30,000, put that together. And that kind of was like, so here's the thing. It's one thing to spend $10,000, $12,000 on a cheap house. Once you start spending 30, 40, 50, 60, up to $100,000 on something, it's like either does two things. He scares the crap out of you. You never want to do it again. Or you got that taste in your mouth. You're like, I just spent something on an asset. Like I'm addicted now. And it was a wrap after that. That was like, it hit a switch in my brain. It's like they say, if you get punched in the face, it's either gonna make you back up or you're gonna keep moving forward. And it just kind of like, I like spending money on this stuff versus this other BS. And it was a wrap after that. It was a wrap after that. So a lot of people see my real estate career and they're like, oh, you've been in real estate since 2017. I didn't really start buying houses really until like a couple years ago. Like 2019 is when I really started buying houses. 2020 paying, like that's when I really started like digging into it. So that's how it worked.
Love it, love it. I'm glad that we're unpacking just the turning point and just what was happening around you and in your mind. And I think it's just so dope that Tariq you saw him and you were like, supporting him and things like that. And you caught on to it. You're like, yo, I need to get into this too. I need to catch the wave. So I think that's amazing. And talk to us about that acquisition with the multi-use. Like what ended up happening with that? Did it need a lot of work? Was it moving ready? Like talk to us a little more about that first transaction after the turning point.
Yeah. So with that property with Tariq and I, it's so funny because, and this is the thing about, and I'm being transparent with you guys, the thing about with real estate, buying real estate is never a bad idea. Sometimes things happen in real estate. So that was a full gut rehab. 98% of the projects I do is a full gut. Like we're tearing down the front wall, we're tearing all the joists out. Like I show some of my projects to people and they're like, whoa, like it's 10% away from new construction. It's called existing construction, new construction. So it's basically ground up development. But we tore down the front wall, we took all the joists, reframed everything out, and we had a little issue with the city. So then we got put on hold. So that was like that also, and that's how I knew I loved this, because you got 30,000 tied up that you thought you were going to get back in this amount of time, and it didn't happen like that. But like I said, when things happen, when you get punched in the face, either going to make you sit down or run away, or it's going to make you move forward. That made me move forward, and it didn't scare me. Of course, you're like, dang, I thought I was going to get that money back. But it's like, no, it's sitting inside of an asset that's worth 10x, 20x, literally 20x worth than what I put into it. So that's how that was. And it kind of like, pivot me to keep going and doing more. But just to answer your question, that was a fully gut, like a full gut. Like we tore down the front wall, rebuilt it back up, took everything out, and it needed like a full everything in that property.
Definitely. It's crazy you mentioned that, because I feel like every time I look on your Instagram, you're inside a house that's down to the wood that you're literally building. So, and I was going to ask you if you started like just with small rehabs, but it sounds like you started with full guts.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me more about that, because some people feel like you shouldn't start with full guts. Like you should start with lipstick jobs, for the listeners, that's just like, cosmetics, just minor rehabs instead of full guts. You started with full guts and you're still in it. You're still around. So talk to us more
Yep.
about that, because I think you have a different perspective.
So a couple different things. One, the first full gut that I did by myself was that house that I got for $12,000. And that was my first by myself full gut job. And the funny thing is I wanted to keep some of the stuff. And then I realized, so it's 3 lessons in what I'm about to say. One, when you're starting to try to do projects and you're trying to keep things and blend it with new stuff, it doesn't look right. Unless you got the best carpenter in the world, it doesn't look right. So you're trying to, hey, only gut half of this house. We're gonna keep a lot of this stuff. And you realize it doesn't look right. And then you realize like you're calling the demo team to come back every week because let's say, for example, I'm in this room and I say, I want to gut out half this room and keep the other half. Like I'm gonna keep this closet, I'm gonna keep this wall. And then you're starting to working on it. And then you realize like, yo, these 2 things don't blend. The old and the new doesn't blend. So you're calling demo guy out. Hey, can you come back and rip this out? Well, what I realize is it's cheaper for them to do everything right the first time than to keep coming back every week. They keep coming back, charging me $300-$400 every week. And I'm like, yo, if I would have just paid y'all like $5,000 from the get-go and got everything out of here, I would have saved more money. So I paid for demo twice. Because every week I was like, save this. Oh, dang, you know what? Take that out. So I'll save this next week. And he just eating because he's just coming back every time, just doing it and doing it and doing it. So that's the first lesson. Sometimes it's better to take everything out because it's hard to blend the 2. It just doesn't give a clean product. The second thing about it is that exact house that I'm talking about, I've had a tenant in there. The same tenant moved in there since we've done that project.
Wow.
I forgot he even had the house. He doesn't call me at all, literally, because we done everything new in the house. New plumbing, new electric, new HVAC, new floors, new everything. So now when you don't do just lipstick rehabs, but you do a nice, fully gutted premium house, that's the tenant's first time getting those running water through those pipes, putting heat through those vents, putting air through those vents, turning that electric on. That's the first time. That might be the second time that switch ever been hit. I hit it the first time and then you hit it the second time. So it's like, the only way it broke is because you broke it. But besides that, it's clean. So now I don't have like a lot of investors that I see do lipsticks. They're doing tenant calls every weekend. Tenants, they fixing the leaky faucet, fixing this. And what I realized, all the properties, I have like a few that are like 1 or 2 that are lipstick. And I realized those are the ones that something's happening every couple months, something needs to get fixed. The ones that full gut, I forgot I even owned them. So, and then also those people sometimes appreciate them houses more because they see how, like, there's a mindset thing for some tenants, full disclosure, because some people will watch this like, nah, that's not right. For some tenants, you walk in somebody's house, you see they take pride in the house. So you take your shoes off at the door before you even ask. You're like, it looks like they keep this stuff nice. When you provide a tenant with a quality of living, they like, this is nice. I don't even want to mess this stuff up. So that's what I realized with that. So that's the kind of second and third lesson in one. 2, you don't have to worry about issues. And 3, sometimes those tenants care for that product a little bit more because you didn't give them BS. You gave them quality. So now they feel like they have to keep that up and then they respect it. Also, a lot of times with those full gut rehabs and you do a premium product, sometimes your appraisal might be even higher because that appraiser seeing that you're not doing no lipstick BS, they see like, oh, you've done something nice, and you get a better value.
Definitely. That's some game. That's some game right there. So after that mixed use property, how did things grow and develop from there? You mentioned like the last couple of years, you gained a lot of momentum. So talk to us about that growth a bit.
Yeah. So what I did was, which was the genius thing, I started taking the wholesaling stuff a little bit more serious, and I started getting a whole bunch of deals, right? And we closing deals, we doing deals, and I thought about it. I said, yo, what if I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone? One of the biggest things I want people to understand is always try to figure out how you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. How can you double up? And how can you do things in a short amount of time? So one of the biggest lessons is you made $100,000 this year. How can you make $100,000 in 6 months? Like, how can we cut down the time? How can we double things? So what I thought about is like, if I'm getting a lot of deals in all these different areas of the city, and I'm interested in buying properties in North Philadelphia, what if I just change all my marketing in North Philadelphia? I'm getting a lot of deals already. The ones I like, I keep. The other ones I sell off. It was like the genius thing, but the dumbest thing at the same time, because I'm getting all these deals and I want to buy all of them. I didn't buy all of them. I sold some stuff and wholesale some stuff and kept some stuff. But it gave me the opportunity where I'm sitting at my desk and I'm just like, these are all houses on this board and this board. And I'm sitting there like, oh shoot, like, all right, which one are we keeping and which one are we selling? So that's kind of
Wow.
my daily struggles every single day is like, what house are we keeping? What house are we selling? You know, it's so funny. We're talking about Tariq. I sold him a house that I was actually thinking about keeping. And I was like, man, he helped me out a lot, you know, and he wanted something on this specific block. So I'm like, we're having fun with this stuff now. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna pitch them because another one will come up tomorrow. And then he just ended up selling me a house that I'm going to closing on this Friday on a block that I wanted a little bit because he was like, I can keep it. And he's like, you know, I'm gonna just pitch it to you. Like the house I sold to him, I own a 4 unit on that block. So I could have kept it and added more wealth I have on that block. And the house he sold to me, he owns 2 houses on that block. So we just playing ping pong at this point.
Definitely, definitely. I love it. And I keep coming back in my mind to the wholesaling aspect because you got the board behind you for those who maybe you're watching the clip, it's houses, and the ones we can't see, it's houses. But this is all because you built that skill of wholesaling. And it's so valuable because now you can find deals and figure and you can make money either way, right? Either
Yeah.
you get rid of it, you sell it, or you keep it as a buy and hold, or if you like to, you flip it. And I think it just shows the value of that skill set that you built as a wholesaler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of the best thing. One of the things that I tell people all the time is, if you can learn how to wholesale, you're always going to be good. And I don't want to, confuse anybody. Like I'm the world's greatest wholesaler or the first wholesaler on this planet. I don't want to even give them assumptions. But if you figure out how to just learn how to find quality deals and learn how to communicate with sellers that are in the need, because everybody, the seller wants to sell a house, they're in the need of some reason. They want to sell because they just want to need money. They want to sell because they want to, get rid of a property that someone dear to their heart end up passing away. They want to sell because they just don't want to deal with it. They're in need of something. So you figure out how to communicate a solution to someone, and you learn how to find the deals, and you learn how to be organized and have a leadership skill to lead that deal to closing. You have a talent that's unmatched that people, undervalue. And I feel like if you learn how to do that, that can take you so much further in your real estate career, to where now you have, situations like I have where you're trying to figure out which ones you want to buy, which ones you want to sell off. And it's just really, and also wholesaling is also, it's just a great skill in general. And you got to multitask, you got to try to put different things together, you got to be organized. It's like you're like school, you're learning 10 different, type of things, type of classes all in the same day. But it grows you and it builds you something crazy.
Definitely, definitely. So you mentioned a couple of times, like, you're at a point in the last couple of years where you have all these deals and you're trying to take them down. So how do you finance them? I'm sure, like, when you're trying to acquire multiple properties at a time, obviously you need some cash. So what are some strategies that you use to just take these deals down and just build your portfolio?
Yeah, so we utilize a couple different ways. One of the main ways that I utilize is hard money. So for those that don't know, hard money, it's, you got traditional funding, you got hard money funding, and you got private funding. Traditional, Wells Fargo, Chase, just regular banks. And you got hard money, which is like not a private lender, but they're in between private and that big bank. And I utilize hard money a lot. And that's been a game changer for me, because once you prove yourself with the hard money lender, it's like you can call them on Monday, the money is wired by Friday, because you show them that you know what you're doing and you can pay them back, and they're willing to, play ball with you. And so I've done a lot with those. And then one of the things that I've started doing successfully, I've actually just done one today, is start doing some partnerships, but to where you need, so it's a mix between hard money and private money. Private money, somebody that wants to just, hey, have cash, they just want to utilize it to get some equity split on the deal. So what I started doing was, someone would want to partner with me on the deal. They want to get a piece on the deal, or they just came to some money and they don't want to just spend it. So let's say I have this property and we need $30,000. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get $30,000 from, I've done this even with cousins that just, came in at $30,000. Or what I would do is, I'm big on developing, make a way to make sure everybody eats and everybody wins from nothing. So I would send text messages and group message and say, what's your credit score look like? And for those that say like they have a 680, 700 credit score, hey, apply for these credit cards. And then they'll get the 20, 30, 40, $50,000 that way. And then we'll take that money off a 0% interest credit card and use that as the down payment for the house. But now they literally just got their equity split in a deal that came from no money out of pocket, because their money came from a credit card that I got them situated with. So now I'm in the deal, no money out of pocket. They're in the deal that they thought they probably would never be a part of with no money out of pocket. And now everybody wins that way. So I've been doing a mix of hard money and private money. And pretty much that. One of my goals, just to be transparent, going into 2023, is to get more bigger private money, to where like someone's funding, let's say I'm buying this building, like this one building that we're about to close, I'm buying it for $200,000. We're putting $200,000 into it, but it's worth $650. I want to find somebody that's going to just fund the whole $400,000, and then that's that.
Definitely. Love it. Love it. So when you, so the credit card is a strategy that we've heard a couple of times on the show. So is the idea that you'll refinance and pay it off? Is that typically what you do?
Yep. Refi it and then cut the check to the credit card company, pay that, bring that balance back down to zero. Or one thing that we do is when we go ahead and when we're putting together our projects, our budgets. So let's say, for example, I use $20,000 on this credit card. Well, let's say, for example, the lender is approving my budget and I'm telling the lender that I need $30,000 for demo, and the demo really only costing me $15,000. So that's an extra $15,000 that I can pocket. And then let's say I told the lender that I need $20,000 for electric, and the electric only cost me $15,000. So that's extra $5,000 I can take. So I'll take the 25 and the 5, put it together and pay off the card during the project, just off of that inflation in the budget.
Definitely. And can you talk about like just the discipline that it takes to utilize credit cards, to work with hard money lenders? Because I really feel like sometimes people don't really understand that. Like, you actually have to be doing the work. You actually have to be getting the project done. Like, you actually have to make all these payments. Like, can you talk about how important it is to be disciplined with all those funds that you're receiving for projects?
I'm glad you said that, because building wealth requires an extreme amount of discipline. I want to say that again, because I think this is overlooked in this Instagram world we're in. Building wealth requires an extreme amount of discipline. Getting into real estate requires an extreme amount of discipline. Getting into a successful business requires an extreme amount of discipline, because especially in real estate, you can get checks for $100,000, $200,000. That's your net check. And you got to be disciplined to put that back into work, or instead of taking it and splurging off with it. That's your profit check. We're not even talking about when you're doing a project and the lender wires you $50,000 to $100,000 as a part of your construction budget. That's a lot of discipline. When you get that money, you like, shoot, I got $80,000 in my account. I got this trip coming up. Whoa, do I spend some of this budget money on my trip, or do I focus and discipline and keep that budget money where it's budget money? And even though I have cash on hand, that's not my cash to utilize for those things, those activities. So that takes a lot of discipline. Like you can be up a couple $100,000 just in budget money. And you need to understand, like, yo, I'm still not up. My budget is up, but I'm not up. So, but I will be up once this project is finished. Unless you do like I was saying, where you're inflating the budget and you GC and you make some money in between. But it takes a lot of discipline to do that. And because remember that lender still technically owns that house until you finish and pay them back and get that completed. So you have a duty to make sure that you're disciplined enough to make sure you see this project out and pay them back. This isn't one of them things that run off on the plug stuff is not cool in this world. Like you got to finish your job and pay that money back. So it takes a real lot of discipline, and also building wealth in general. It's cool to own a house or two houses, which I advise everybody that's listening, everybody in the world, to buy at least 2 properties. Because if you're getting $1,000 a month in rent, let's say net $500, $600 after mortgage and stuff is paid off, like extra $500,000 can change someone's life. The average American doesn't have enough money to cover 4 flat tires if they get a flat. If all 4 tires get a flat, so an extra $1,000 a month net will change someone's life. But when you want to take it to the next level, and I want to own 10 houses, that requires a lot of discipline to where you need to take those profits and reinvest it back into the business, into the real estate, instead of buying chains, cars, and do all this stuff like that. That requires a lot of discipline. And that's what building real wealth is. It requires discipline to play the long game.
Are you looking for a community of like-minded individuals and access to experts in real estate?
Yeah.
Are you interested in real estate but need more support and guidance?
You know who it is?
The Black Real Estate Dialogue presents the Real Estate Investing Community. No matter how much or how little real estate experience you have, we've created a community for you because your perspective is important. All right, tell me, where's the #1 place where you can do Q&A with experienced guest speakers 2 times per month? How about unlimited access to past guest speakers' recordings? What about a private Slack channel to engage in daily discussion with everybody in the community to share resources and support each other? Head on over to blackrealestatedialogue.com. That's blackrealestatedialogue.com. It's the real estate investing community presented by the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Come join us today.
Definitely love it. Appreciate you breaking that down. So I saw the video that you posted today. I believe you took your grandmother to maybe seven houses, something of that nature. Yeah. So talk about managing that many projects, managing teams. How do you do it?
Yeah. So first and foremost, and this is just for anybody watching this, start out with your 1 or your 2. It's like when you're boxing, you're getting your form down first before you start throwing all the fast punches. You're getting your 1, 2 as slow as possible, and then you start throwing them fast. Understand the process. Okay, we're going to have to demo this property out. Then we have to get any structural issues, any masonry done. Then we're gonna go ahead and frame. Then we're gonna go ahead and do the plumbing. Then we're gonna do the HVAC. Then we're gonna do the electric. Then we're gonna go ahead and we understand the process and the fundamentals first. Because other than that, if you don't understand the fundamentals of one project, you're going to be fully scrambled trying to do 10 at the same time. So that's the biggest thing for anybody watching. But also, too, as you're building up the fundamentals on the one house at a time, you're going to understand and develop what kind of crew you have, what kind of contracts you have, and what kind of systems that you have, doing construction is nothing but babysitting grown men. I don't know if I'm the first to say it, but I'm going to be one to say it. All you're doing is babysitting grown men. Grown men that's saying like, hey, I'll be done on this day on Friday. Can you make sure I get paid on Friday because I'm going on vacation this weekend and I want to make sure I got my money before I go on vacation. Not in a way where they're saying that you don't pay them on time, but they just like throwing it out there like, hey, look, listen, my plane leaves at 5. You think I can get it at 2? Like, handling stuff like that. They're not showing up to the job site because, their car broke there. Like, just babysitting grown men. So you understand what kind of guys come up on time, what kind of guys don't show up on time, what kind of guys are cheaper, what kind of guys are more expensive. You understand who's really good at this and who's just good enough to get the job done. You start to understand your guys as you're working on the one house at a time. And then you start separating your crews. Like I have a crew that is like elite. Like I don't have to go to their house at all. They can send me pictures. And then you got another crew where they can get the job done, but you got to be there to monitor, you know, to make sure that they're not half stepping. You know, you got some guys that get it done, but they better when you're watching them. They work harder when you're watching them. And you got some guys that they're going to work hard whether you there or not because they take pride in it. So not to say you can't use either or, but you just understand what you got to do. Hey, oh, that crew is working it. Let me go check on this house. Oh, that crew is working it. I can take a week off. I'll check on it. Or they can just send me pictures. I trust it work. So as you're doing your 1 house at a time, then you develop the skill, understand what kind of guys you have and things like that. And then the third part that helps managing a bunch of projects is understanding what kind of systems and what kind of things you do. So for example, as simple as paint color, all my houses get the same paint. All my houses get the same paint. And then I have a pro account at Sherwin-Williams and I use the same painter. So now he knows to go to Sherwin-Williams, pick up the bucket, the 5 gallon or multiple 5 gallons of paint that I do. I paint all my houses white. I paint the front doors orange. It's called copper wire. So now he knows to pick up the white, pick up the copper wire, go to the house, move on to the next house. He knows what's going on. He charges it to the account. Then the bill comes to me later on, and then I pay it. It's a system. I don't need to check him. I don't need to monitor him. He knows what to do. He knows how it's done. Even down to cabinets, to get the same. Like when you start developing a system, it's easier to manage a bunch of properties because all of them are getting the same thing. My electrician knows exactly how I want, where I want the outlets to go, where I want TV outlets to go, to the point I don't need to tell him, make the TV wall on this side of the room. He knows what I want. He knows how it goes. I don't have to monitor him, I don't have to check it. And once you, long story short, once you get your systems together, understand how you like your houses, now your guys know how you like your houses. So now they can just maneuver, and it's easier when everybody knows the same goal. So you don't have to really sit. A lot of times people have a problem leading and managing because they don't know what they want. Mm-hmm. I have a clear vision of what I want and how I want this house to look specifically. And I share that vision to every other individual that is working with me. And then I also say working for me, working with me. We're all building this house together. And once they know the vision, it makes it a lot easier because now everything works smoothly. And then also you have your elite guys. Like I have 2 guys that have credit cards. Mm-hmm. And then my painter has the pro account. They don't need me to go ahead and buy material. They can go ahead and pick that stuff up, pick the stuff up on their own, you know, give me courtesy. Let me know what you're about to buy. If it's about to be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. But if it's 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, let me know what you bought, but go ahead and grab it so we can keep it going. So those are the things three things I would say that help, you know, manage multiple projects at the same time.
Love it. Love it. So it sounds like, just to recap, just making sure. So it sounds like over time, you'll know how you want stuff to look. And if you eventually find like the right team and people in place, it's almost like clockwork, and you can focus on managing the crew, especially those who, you know, like you said, get the job done, spending some more time, just making sure they get stuff done. But the guys who know what to do, you know, they're able to do their thing, and you're able to just continue to focus on growing the business, getting more deals and things like that.
Yeah, that's Definitely. A fact. That's a fact. And it works perfect like that. You know, I feel like we need to worry about these 3 different colors. I always say green color, like when you manage out your day, highlight what tasks you have. Green is like money making activities. Blue is only things that you can do, like going to the gym. But yellow is activities that other people can do. Like, for example, going to Home Depot as a yellow activity. Your guys want the material, whether you pick it up and drop it off or John picks up and drops it off. So once I identified that, I started then, you know, moving more towards the green money making activities, finding more deals and less of the Home Depot runs. And here's my card, you go handle that stuff. Or like I hired my little cousin and I pay him weekly and I give him my pickup truck and he goes hit him. He does all the runs. Y'all tell him what you need. His job all day is to go back and forth to stores and pick up and drop off stuff.
Got it. Did it take you a long time to get to a point where you were willing to let go and let other people do stuff, or is this something that came kind of naturally to you?
I don't want to say it didn't take me hard to let go of people making some strong input. It was hard for me to let go from going to these houses and sitting in them all day because I just love it. But I realized that wasn't the best use of my time sitting there watching grown men fix up houses. You like, "Darn, they really building this thing. Like, this is crazy." And I would just sit there and I'll bring my laptop sometimes. I would really sit in the house and just watch them, like, while they building. And that's how I learned construction, because I would sit in the houses watching the framers frame, watching the plumbers do plumbing, and I'm just like, okay, so this is how they do it. So I don't regret it, because now it taught me. I got a direct crash course, but also it wasn't the best use of my time. So to really answer your question, I didn't have a problem letting go of the input part, because remember, I focus on hiring the best guys, the best team. So I'm hiring guys that know more than me about that specific profession. The electrician may not tell me how to do plumbing because that's not his field, but when it comes to electric, he knows what kind of panel box we get. He knows what kind of wires we should use. He knows what kind of lights we should run. He knows this stuff. So it wasn't hard for me to give away that power of input, because I'm hiring the best guys anyway. So for example, if you're really, passionate and have a lot of strong input on podcasting, doing recording, and you're like, no, this is the type of microphone, this is the type of thing you need. But then you talk to literally the owners of Sony and talk about their equipment, you don't mind letting go some of it, because they're the ones building stuff. Like, they say this mic is better. You like, shoot, that mic is better. Like, that's my whole thing.
Definitely. One of the things I want to go back to is your goal. So you mentioned, I believe your goal is to get, 100 units. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a bit more about that, and just like, I guess, your progress to that goal, and how things maybe change once you set that goal, and maybe if it changed like your work ethic or just different things like that?
That's a great question. So one, I had stated one of my goals is to get 100 units. We halfway there, so that's great.
Wow.
And this is not like 100 units over like 10 years. It's like over the next 12-ish months. So we're halfway there, which is great. But what I did realize is, and this was like a light bulb moment for myself, is acquiring more units. Hitting that goal is going to require you to do bigger projects, bigger buildings, because you're buying single family house, which is not what I was doing anyway. But buying single family house, that means you got to do 100 transactions. But if you buy duplexes, you get 50 of those. You buy triplex, you get a third. You see where I'm going with this? So now you realize that buying buildings with more units cuts down the transaction time. And then also what I realized on a mental aspect, and this is just a transparent moment. What I realized doing a whole bunch of projects at the same time and trying to get all those things done, and you're the one handling everything. And I don't partner with a whole lot of people, just a few people, or the ones I do partner with may be like equity partner. They don't know what's going on. They just drop the money, but I'm still handling everything. Some of those things do wear and tear on not only body, finances, obviously, but also the mental. So what I kind of realized over this year, hitting my goal, is that it does wear and tear on your mind, as far as you got to think about, hundreds of thousands of dollars is being transferred in your account, in and out of your account, not bi-monthly or yearly. This is weekly. Like, you're spending 30,000 this morning, and you spend another 20,000 tomorrow. You spend another 5,000 here, like going in and out of the account. A whole bunch of, like I said, grown men telling you what they need, then they're venting to you in the job. So like, and then you're trying to make sure that your projects are going smoothly. You might have LS city issues you got to deal with. Then you come home and you still got to be a strong family man to make sure the family's good. Then you got your other outside family. Then you got other things. And you got your own. Like it's a lot on the mental. So, one of the things that, I'm just saying this for other people that's, watching this, that they're like, oh, I want to hit to 100 doors like he did. Well, also keep in mind that, understand what's best for you at your physical and mental capacity. Like what I started doing is I started doing therapy. And it was like, I'm just letting people know, like, there's nothing wrong with that, to where you can go and actually, whether it's bi-weekly or monthly, sit and talk to somebody and just like talk about life. And what that does is it allows you to then go back to the projects with a clear head. And now you can really just focus on work because you just released a little bit. So that's one of the things I realized, in just to answer your question as far as your mental space doing it, I realized that it was like, yo, this is a lot, let me release some of this stuff, or go on a little weekend trip or something like that, because you really will burn yourself out and things like that. And then also one of my main goals, that was like a mini goal. That sounds bad, but the real goal is that I really want to have is I want my immediate family and a lot of my friends and family. I can't take care of my entire second cousin twice removed, but my tight, close family that, I'm always talking to, I'm always seeing every day. I want all of them to own properties or own a business that either I help them got, or they help them get, or they work under me, work with me or something. I went and got a business for my mom, and I want to do things like that for my other family members. That's my main goal, where everybody's financially free through, something that I provided.
Love it. What's the business that you helped your mom with?
An event space business. So
Nice.
She wanted to have an event space for years. I didn't really know exactly the details of what it was. One of my friends / mentors opened up an event space, and I set up shop as my office Monday through Friday. He had events on weekends, and then it was crazy. It was like he had people dropping off money while I was at the office. He was like, "Yo, somebody's going to drop off money. Can you just put it in the back room for me?" Because that was my real estate office I was using. And I just had to be done by 5 o'clock on Friday, because he had events Fridays night, Saturday night, Sunday night. And I was like, oh, so this thing my mom was talking about actually is making money. So then I came back to her, I said, look, listen, my friend actually owned an event space. I know that you've been talking about this. I kind of been letting it go one ear and out the other, but this thing is like it's one thing you hear somebody talk about. When you actually see it, you're like, oh shoot, like she's not crazy. This is real. So he gave me a couple tips. I went and got our building. I renovated the entire building, brand new, and then gave it to her. And then she started running up events, and people paying, $600 to $1,000 for a 4-hour baby shower.
Love it. That's amazing. Hey, that's the power of real estate, man. That's the power of real estate. It can enable you to help other people, to start other businesses, to put other people on. And I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Just being in position to be able to do those kind of things. So that's dope, man.
No, thank you. Yeah, that's probably one of the best things I've done, is just putting someone on, especially someone like your mom. Like it doesn't get a better feeling than that.
Definitely. So a couple questions before we wrap up. So I know that development is something that you want to do. So can you talk to us just briefly about why you want to get into development and how you're going to approach it? You're already kind of close. You mentioned that you basically bulldoze everything down in the houses you're at now. So it's just above like complete development, but now you have lots where it's literally from scratch. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I'm big on growth and going to the next level. So like, if you remember when I said the only reason why I wanted to buy, I went to that seminar is because I owned a single family house, and I said the next level is getting a duplex or a triplex. So I feel like I've done single families, I've done, multifamilies, and I bought and flipped lots. The next step is for me to build on those lots. So that's the number one reason I want growth, and I just want to keep developing and just keep forcing I won't say force, but pushing myself to go to the next level and keep going to the next level as most as possible. And then the second thing behind it is I actually paid somebody I paid him $15,000 and for him to just give me like a quick crash course on development, show me some of his projects, show me what's going on, show me some blueprints, basically just show me some stuff. And then what I realized is, because I own some lots, but I didn't know what to do with it. So, you always got that scary feeling like, yo, this might be something like, this might be something I don't know. So that's why I'm big on mentorship. Before I say I'm gonna try this on my own and mess up hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, because development is not no $20,000 budget. This is hundreds of thousands of millions. So I say, if my project budget for one lot is $350, what is it to pay? Give somebody $10,000-$15,000 for me, tell me how to do it the right way. So I paid them, and what I realized is this is no different from what I'm already doing. It's not an existing structure anymore. And so what that really did was give me the confidence. So how I'm gonna approach it is same way I approach anything. I own the land free and clear. I own a bunch of lots free and clear. I'm going to a hard money lender. You can go to traditional banks as well, but a lot of them, from my knowledge, require some real experience showing that you already done them already. So I already talked to my lender that I usually do. They said, look, listen, you already showed us what we can do. Let us know when you need the money. We'll wire it so you can start building. So my plan is to finish up these projects I got going on right now, and then I'm gonna start that at the end of this year. I'm gonna start with 2 lots first, and then I'm gonna send them the budget. They're gonna send me the money, and then we're gonna start building. But that's how I plan on, attacking that, and that's why I want to do it. And also the last part is what I realized with development is your permits and plans and the scope and everything is already set on a piece of paper, measurement by measurement, line by line. A lot of times with rehabs, it can be an audible made because you don't realize that there's a structural issue. Don't realize is this. How the project is supposed to go is on new construction. You already knew it months ago because you're building this line by line on plans. So I like that concept of it. The second part of it is I can actually just hire a builder to just build it from the ground up, and I can be in Costa Rica while it's going on, and I don't have to really expect any crazy new stuff to happen. Like I had a project one time, my guys were in there work and they called me and it was like, yo, the house is collapsed. And I was like, why? They knocked down one of the wrong beams and it started shit. It was something crazy. But with new construction, I assume that I don't have to worry about them type of things because you're like, it's as long as you do it according to the plan that was approved by the city, everything should move, accordingly. And also the third thing is I hear a lot of people that say, I want to make 6 figures, 7 figures and things like that. But to be honest with you, you're buying a house for, $50,000 and you're putting $20,000 into it and it's worth $150,000. The spreads don't really support that unless you're doing a whole bunch of them. But if you want to make 6 figures plus, multiple 6 figures on a deal, then that means you got to do bigger deals. So if I'm buying, like, for example, one lot I own, I got it for $60,000. And the build out is going to be $300,000, but the house, the comps are $600,000. So you see, like the spreads, obviously the numbers have to make sense, but the spreads are a lot bigger. I'm realizing on the development piece because we're creating something that's worth a whole lot more. So that's the other reason why now you can kind of like get a bigger bag, in one setting rather than trying to do a bunch of smaller things.
Definitely, man. We're gonna have to have you come back after you get some of them bills up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Derek, I'm just thinking about where you first started, right? You kind of got convinced to get your real estate license and you started to do a little bit of investing around that time. And then you had this turning point where you were selling real estate, you were wholesaling and everything. And you realize, there's another side that I need to get on, and you haven't looked back. And I think it's just it's an inspirational story, a lot of practical steps and information. And I think it's really relatable too, because I'm sure everyone could resonate with that, just having a turning point where they decided they want to take investing a lot more seriously. So, I definitely appreciate you sharing and all your transparency.
Thank you so much. I believe in just being honest and saying what you have going on. I believe in sharing your pros and your cons, your wins and your losses. Because believe it or not, there's somebody on here that's watching that's only starting off of the strength that you started. I know that personally. I got a lot of people that tell me that, from friends to family members to strangers. The only reason I bought that first house is because I saw you buy your fifth house. Like, so you have to be transparent. You have to say what's going on. And also, a lot of people always, are scared to share certain experiences because they don't feel like it's big enough. But you got to realize, if you're at a level 5 and someone's at a level 1, you have enough inspiration to get them to come up. So never hide what you have, or, don't be transparent, because it's somebody that might literally need to hear that message just to get them to buy their first house or get them to buy their second house, and things like that. So I feel like it's my duty just to share information, share game, and just share stories of what I'm going to do, because it might change somebody's life.
Definitely appreciate that. And before we go, where can people find you? Talk about any like resources, products and stuff that you have that people can tap into as well.
Yeah, so my Instagram is DSBOONE. That's my Instagram. Facebook, I had a Facebook, and then somebody hacked it and shut it down. So I have a Facebook is Derek Boone, but I probably got 3 friends on there. But Instagram is the main place to get in contact with me, or just see. I drop 60-second videos every single day on Instagram, and then I have a YouTube channel. Just type my name, Derek Boone. I'm sharing a lot of the mini series we've done where I interview other, real estate individuals, credit individuals that are just closing any type of deal. And we just talk about have conversations like this and just talk about it. And so that's on YouTube. Like I said, Instagram is DS Boone. And if you guys click the link in my bio, I have free classes on and off. Literally just me just sharing game. Because I get a lot of questions in the DM. So that's my opportunity for, like, all right, everybody drop your question. Like, what do you guys need? Let's go through this. And I have a couple ebooks. One on how to leverage to get $100,000 in credit to, utilize for real estate. I have an ebook on how to buy houses. How to wholesale real estate. And then I have a book on how to use other people's money to actually buy your own real estate. So like I said, I try to be a one-stop shop, have something for everybody. But if you guys want, even deeper information, just DM me the word mentorship, DM the word more, DM, just say, hey, look, listen, I'm trying to take it to the next level. We have a tight ship, but we see how we can help,
Definitely. Love it. And thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Definitely subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Leave us a rating, leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. I look forward to hearing from you all soon, Derek. Thank you again, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Love what you're doing.
Appreciate that.
Hi, everyone. Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button, and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.